Mike, it's great to see you. We're excited to have Mizzou play in Tuscaloosa coming up this weekend. How's everything going for you and the Tigers?
All going good. Off to a 6-1 start. Looking forward to the road trip this weekend. And really, Roger, I think it's an opportunity for Missouri to see if there has truly been growth as this season has progressed. The last time Mizzou was on the road in an environment like it's going to face on Saturday, they failed and failed miserably against Texas A&M, getting blown out 41-10. And so, can Missouri as a football team show maturity in this matchup on Saturday? I think is one of the things that I'm anxious to find out.
If you could just talk us through the schedule that Missouri's played so far at getting to that 6-1 record.
Well, opened against Murray State, not an impressive non-conference schedule. Playing Murray State at home against Buffalo, at home against Boston College, at home against Vanderbilt to open SEC play, and then played your first road game. Week 4, week 5, if you will, after a bye week, going to Texas A&M, and so then a date at UMass, which was an interesting setting in that you go from 103,000 at Kyle Field to 16,000 at UMass, and so that was a unique experience. And of course, last week against Auburn, finding a way really to win that game, I think, is the theme of the sixth victory of the season. You did not play well. On the opening drive, you lost your quarterback in Brady Cook, lost your starting running back in Nate Noel. Second series of the game, lost your starting tight end. We're down already two wide receivers who played quite a bit, but yet found a way to kind of hang in and come back from a 17-3 second half deficit and win 21-17. And really, I think the headline from that game is the legend of Brady Cook continues to grow. And what do I mean by that? For those that are listening that don't know, here's a kid that grew up in St. Louis that all he ever dreamed about was playing quarterback at the University of Missouri. His parents have photos of him standing in line to shake players' hands as they're entering the stadium during Mizzou's Tiger Walk. As a little guy wearing his Mizzou jersey, and here he is now as a fifth-year senior. His third year as a starter, 17-3 as a starter over the last two seasons. Started 33 consecutive games. Will make his 34th start this weekend. Gets injured, goes in the locker room, goes to the nearby hospital to have an MRI. Missed 2 hours and 22 minutes of game time, but then came back and led Mizzou on two scoring drives to come back and win. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it really is straight out of a movie for him. Backing up just a little bit to Missouri's game against Vanderbilt, a tight game, two overtime victory for the Tigers. I'm just curious, based on how that game went, were you surprised at all with how well Vanderbilt played against Alabama?
No, I told some people after Missouri's football game that this is clearly Clark Lea's best team. Vanderbilt's a bowl team, and I think it underscores the job that Coach Lee and his staff have done, during the course of the offseason in terms of getting guys in the portal. As you know, Diego Pavia is a difference maker. You can see the fingerprints of Jerry Kill, all over the offense, and particularly what they do in the red zone. Stowers is a playmaker that they brought in at tight end, and so and they've become much more physical, I think, and dominant up front on the defensive line. And so I wasn't surprised. I told people I thought it was going to be a very difficult game because I just think that Vandy's kind of like playing with a little bit of a swagger that people haven't seen. I'm very impressed with what Clark Lee's done this year with his team.
Well, going back to the Missouri Tigers, we talked about Brady Cook in this last game for him. Who are some of the key playmakers around him he's going to try and get the ball to against Alabama?
Luther Burden has got to be a factor in the game. Kid that came into the season as a preseason All-American, is not having an All-American type season, but is capable of changing the game. Second play from scrimmage at UMass goes 61 yards on a jet sweep. Big fourth down reception of 16 yards in Missouri's game-winning drive against Auburn. Again, in a game that he was very quiet until the final drive when he had two receptions on that 17-play drive. Theo Weiss is a kid who's a transfer from Oklahoma in his second year at Missouri. Again, a kid that's got to have an impact on the game. And then, to me, Roger, you've seen enough football, and particularly in this league, it's up front defensively in the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. Whoever controls the line of scrimmage wins the game. And can Missouri can they run the ball, and can Mizzou stop the run? And in my mind, those are two huge parts of what we're going to witness on Saturday.
Who are the playmakers on defense?
Guy named Corey Flagg, a linebacker who transferred from Miami. He's Missouri's leading tackler. Started the season as the backup and continues to rotate with Chuck Hicks at one of those inside linebacking positions. Young man from St. Louis named Marvin Burks, who's a redshirt freshman, actually a sophomore now in the program. Chris McClellan, a transfer from Florida, starts inside at a defensive tackle. He's a guy that's played very well, very consistently through the season. And then on the defensive end, Zion Young, a transfer from Michigan State, had his best game on Saturday against Auburn, and then Johnny Walker Jr., who was the defensive MVP of the Cotton Bowl against Ohio State last year. Those would be some of the names that I'd keep an eye on.
And then for Coach Drinkwitz, this is now his fifth season at Missouri. What's his style, and how has he really made this program his own?
It's an interesting question. I don't know that I could identify or answer the word style. I would say that what he's done is that he's done a very good job in terms of recruiting and building the roster. He's done a really good job in the portal the last couple of years in terms of bringing in, plug and play guys. Chris McClellan is an example. Corey Flagg's an example on the offensive side of the football. Marcus Bryant at left tackle came from SMU. Caden Green, who's a Missouri kid, started at Oklahoma a year ago, so he's now Missouri starter at left guard. So I think he's a player's coach, but I think he's a guy that is a disciplinarian as well. Missouri has had very, very few problems with players, off the field. Guys are graduating, guys are doing their thing. And then he's had success, obviously, on the field as well. Again, through the last 20 games, Missouri's 17-3, which matches Mizzou's best 20-game stretch in school history. And so I think the other thing too that Coach Drinkwitz has done a wonderful job with is just developing, I think, a relationship with the fan base, and he understands that everybody's got their hands full this weekend. It's all hands on deck, and you try to prepare as best as you can, and then see what happens on Saturday.
We're excited for football on Saturday, but the one team that has given Alabama basketball throughout the years, especially in Columbia, Missouri, has been the Missouri Tigers. What can you tell us about the excitement and the build-up to the season for the Tigers on the hardwood?
Much different team than the team that lost 19 consecutive games to finish the season. That sounds weird saying that, doesn't it? Lost 19 consecutive games to finish the season, but they did. Missouri hasn't had a win in basketball since December the 30th of 2023. Much different team. Again, went on the portal, added a Mark Mitchell from Duke, added a Tony Perkins from the University of Iowa, added Marquez Warwick from Northern Kentucky, and then built around guys coming back like Caleb Grill, who's healthy, Tamar Bates, who was Missouri's leading scorer a year ago, and then added a top 10 recruiting class with really five kids that can play right away. And so it's you had to be better, right? Had to be better, particularly in this league when you just look. I mean, I think Bruce Pearl may have said it. You could be number 10 in the SEC in basketball this year and be number 25 in the country. So the league's really good, obviously.
It really is. Well, Mike Kelly, we look forward to seeing you and the Missouri Tigers in town this weekend. Just safe travels and thank you for your time.
Anytime, Roger. Take care.